I realised when I got everything I thought I wanted that I didn't want it at all and I hated it and I was really unhappy. They don't care about women's health. They don't care about women's comfort. They care about transactions and profit.
Founder episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Women Are Good Business, the podcast. And this week we have Gilly Ridley Whittle joining us. She is the founder and the CEO of Peach House, and she's going to take us on her journey through being a female founder. So enjoy the episode, and please do like, follow, subscribe, shout about us wherever you can so we can tell more female stories. Gilly, welcome to Women Are Good Business, the podcast. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and your business?
Great to be here. Thank you. I am the founder of a brand called Peach House. Before that, though, I had another life. I had a life in corporate business, which was a career which spanned 25 plus years. I worked my way up from a buyer to be a trading director, and I had notable roles. I ran Marks and Spencer's underwear and launched their beauty, actually. And I had 4 years between 2014 and 2018 after that in Australia, where I did 2 turnarounds.
Wow.
One for a business called Target, which is the biggest retailer in Australia, Target, and one for Maya. And then I came back to the UK in 2018 and I went to Topshop. I was their last fashion director before they were then sold to ASOS after COVID.
Wow.
Yep. I decided in 2016 when I was in Australia and not very happy, but I'm sure we can come on to that in a minute, that I needed to change my life. And I knew that as fashion was all I knew, I decided that it had to be a brand and I wanted to create something which was of value to the industry because I felt the industry was cruel. And I came up with this brand called Peach House, which is a lot more story behind it, but that's essentially...
So tell us a little, what does Peach House do?
Okay, so Peach House was launched as a sustainable underwear and clothing brand.
Okay.
So having been in the industry for many years, I actually realized around 2016 when I was in Australia that the industry I thought I loved, I actually realized was cruel and destructive, not just to the planet, but actually I saw very difficult cultures as well. And I saw the damage to people in their lives.
Yeah.
And I personally was very burnt out. I was in the dream job with the biggest package, all the ego stuff, the biggest, team, thought it was going to be my utopia. And I realized when I got everything I thought I wanted that I didn't want it at all and I hated it and I was really unhappy. So I decided that I needed to rather be complicit and keep my career going, create something which was the antithesis, which was going to drive change in the industry. And it was going to launch a sustainable underwear and clothing brand, which took me 6 years, by the way. But it's pivoted to something else.
Yeah.
In the last few years, we have made a shift because of what we've learned.
Excellent. And we will come back to that.
Okay.
Pivot, and I'm sure you can then tell us about that. So one of the things I think is hardest, and it sounds like you took some time to do it, is coming up with an idea and then taking it from ideation to action. But coming up with an idea is also difficult. So you've touched a little bit on kind of some of the motivation, but what was it that made you go, this is the thing that will fix it?
Yeah. I always said from when I was young, when the time is right, I will launch my own brand.
Okay. So this is something that's been in you for a long time.
Yeah. I did a fashion design and marketing degree, and in my final year, my final collection was creating a concept for a brand. Funny enough, it was underwear to be worn as underwear or outerwear, and I called it vests. And I did at the time think, should I do this? But I was clueless as to how I would end. How do you launch a brand? And I was desperate to earn money and work my way up the career ladder because that's what I thought my success and my happiness would be. So for me, I knew the time was coming it was really weird when I was in Australia. I mean, I'd gone to do this big job. I left the first job and I had 4 months off and I thought, why don't I just use this time to create the concept for this brand? And I really truly in my heart believed that there was a better way of doing fashion. I thought utopia could exist. I thought fashion could be a force for good. I mean, this was like a pipe dream. I had no idea how I was going to make this happen, but I I just planted a seed and
Yeah.
I created a deck. I created a range. I knew I loved the Australian lifestyle, the free-spirited vibe, the work to live,
Yeah.
living by the coast, the sea, the surf culture. And I thought, I love how they dress. I love the beachwear, the athleisure, the leggings, the crop tops, the
Yeah.
swimwear. And I thought that's what my collection is going to be. It's going to be a blend, a new genre of lifestyle clothing. But most important thing was I was really disillusioned with the lack of humanity in the industry. And I thought, we're going to put human beings and care and empathy and acceptance at the heart of everything we do, and value, whether you're the customer or you are the person on the sewing machine. I wanted everyone to feel like they saw the value of this brand, wanted to be part of a movement of change. And that's why I did it. It was all about creating a humanistic, caring approach to fashion.
And so that time out was really to kind of just get the idea on paper that had been floating around for a really long time. That time out was really important to you.
Yeah, it was. And actually, I had some friends came to stay and they were very creative. And I just said, let's just brainstorm with gin and tonics and wine and stuff. So there was lots of evenings around a table. So, and it was that. They were so behind creating this and they loved what I was talking about. And in many ways, I was very contemporary. I mean, we still are with where we're going, but they are very out there and they just helped me to bring it to life. And then we visualized it and it just started to get a life of its own. And literally we made a film, we created a deck, we had mood boards all in the space of 6 weeks. And suddenly I could feel an energy that was exciting me.
So what were the next steps for you then? So you've got this amazing idea. And let's be honest, lots of people, probably many of our listeners, have got an idea in the back of their head and have even done some of the stuff that you did and mapped it out and really thought about it. But turning that into reality, what was the first kind of action you took to turn it into a reality?
So because so in my old world, my old corporate job, I had built up a prison around me, if I'm honest, a prison where I had a good salary, I had responsibilities, kids at school, all this stuff. And I didn't know how I was going to get myself out of that to do it. So I took another job in Australia.
Okay.
It was another turnaround. I did it. My part-time passion was getting my Pinterest boards out. I then came back to the UK in 2018 and I was looking for a job, but I actually got the brand off the shelf and I thought, let's do these things in parallel, see if I can get funding. I applied for SCIS. I found someone who gave me my first 15 grand and I started to move along the development process. But then I very quickly realized this was going to be tricky and a job came and I got an offer from Topshop and I decided I had to take the job. So it went on the shelf.
Okay.
But what happened was I went to Topshop as their fashion director. It was really tricky because COVID hit, force majeure, all the stock was on the water. It was just a car crash mess.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? It's now or never. I can't go back to another corporate job. I'm burnt out. I'm done. So I joined a Facebook group.
Okay.
Which was a small group of women run by someone who was all about setting your intentions every week, holding yourself to account, which I did every week. And I set myself on a path to get an investor deck, write a business plan, and get myself to a position where I had no idea how I was going to get this brand launched. I was introduced to an investor somehow. He loved my deck. 6 months later, I was made redundant from ASOS and he gave me my first check.
Wow.
And that was 5 years ago.
And so just to help us for the listeners as well, because there was some stuff in there which is possibly quite technical if someone's not run a business.
Yeah.
What's SCIS? Can you articulate what SCIS is?
Yeah. So I will say it in my terms. So there's a scheme that the government has put into place that is an incentive for investors to invest in seedling businesses. And it's a tax relief. So basically, if someone puts £100,000 in, SEIS scheme will give them 50% back on their investment. So it's an incredibly appealing incentive for investors. And, these seedling businesses are high risk. So actually, it's a way for the government to support new fledgling businesses and industry.
Yeah. So you were walking into the unknown. So how did that feel?
Great question. I can't explain it. While I was working and I had this behind the scenes getting everything together, I honestly had no idea how I was going to make this happen. I was terrified I was going to lose my job because Topshop went into administration.
Yeah.
And I was terrified that I would lose my job and get no payout or anything. I really think I was under a lucky star. One, because I'd found an investor who liked me.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I was moved from Topshop into ASOS when ASOS bought Topshop, and they didn't need me. They made me redundant. So I got a big financial cushion.
Yeah.
And because I had no idea when he said I would invest, what was I going to do? But I was given the answer.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know beyond that cushion what would happen, because we went into a year cycle of getting everything ready, and that investment didn't really pay me, to be honest. It was able to get my team. So, but I didn't think about it. I actually thought, just focus on now and just get things going. But it is scary. The money thing is probably one of the biggest things and holds you back.
Yeah.
For 4 years on, nearly 5 years on, I'm still here. I'm still going.
Yeah.
I'm way committed beyond where I wanted to, but I can't explain it. Something is just pulling me along. And I feel like the whole journey from then has been incredible.
And so far in that journey, what's the biggest challenge been? Is it the money, or are there other big challenges that you've had to deal with on the journey?
There's been significant challenges. And I asked myself the other day, if I'd known what was coming, would I have done it?
It's like,
so in a way, it's just as I didn't know what was coming. The challenges are many. I am so grateful to every single challenge and every single hurdle I've had to jump through, because I've had some of the most valuable learnings of my whole life. Learnings about myself personally, about my own resilience and my own determination, but business lessons as well. So I would say one of the biggest challenges is that what we launched as a sustainable underwear brand, we launched into a really difficult market. Yes, absolutely. Sustainability is really important, but the market is declining in terms of full price. You've got more and more competition. Businesses are really struggling and are discounting. So you're in a market where there's price deflation, and being a sustainable brand almost isn't enough. So we had to counter that. We struggled to get wholesale. We struggled to get our revenues. We didn't have money to throw at performance marketing. So that's been a huge challenge, and we have pivoted, which I can talk to in a minute. Another challenge has been finances, and we ran out of money as soon as we launched, and I had to get bailed out by my investor, and thank goodness. So we were able to keep going, but it's just been every month. It's just been challenging because we haven't built enough revenue still. So I'm 4 years, and I'm being really honest about this because I don't think we were meant to be a sustainable underwear brand. Does that make sense? I think we were meant to find where we've moved to. So I would say a big lesson has been nimble, fail, keep trying, but don't keep trying when you really know it's not. You have to shift and move, and you have to be agile.
Yeah.
And we are agile, and that's been a really good lesson. But the financial side of it has been my most biggest worry,
And I think that you touched on something I really want to just delve into a little bit, which is the kind of test and learn and fail, but then know when to move on. How do you do that?
Yeah. So it's been really frustrating for me. My fashion background, with my contacts in the industry, from even me, I couldn't get traction. I couldn't, knocked on so many retailers' doors to try and, and I know the people at the top to try and get in. So I feel, for people who haven't got those contacts.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where it was one particular meeting actually with a big retailer, and we'd done a whole load of work for a big wholesale order, and it had all gone so well. Got all our products boxed up, all these beautiful new samples. I took them personally to the retailer's office, and the buyer had her meeting, and she literally called me after, and she just said, "Oh, we're not going to do a wholesale order. We'll offer you a consignment order." Now, for people who don't know, wholesale, if you get an order, you get your cash up front. So you
Right.
get,
So
so
really
it's
important for small
guaranteed,
business.
it's guaranteed cash, maybe a 50% deposit and then 50, but you get the cash. You don't get your stock
Yeah.
back. Consignment is you still own the stock, so you only get, so if it's they sell one, you'll get the money for one, whereas if it's a wholesale, you give them 100, you get the money for 100 straight up. So cash flow is so important for small business. So
Yeah.
I literally, having done a year's work, I just lost it. I mean, I was in the car and I literally lost it. But do you know what? I just thought, I'm not doing this. I am not feeling like this. I'm not being beholden to anyone. That's not what I'm about. This is not the energy of this brand. This brand is powerful and strong and beautiful and needs to fly. And I then said, right, we are going to go back to every single thing we've done, every event. We've had a shopping garden 6 months. We've done loads of pop-up events, and I'm going to analyze every single detail of where we've taken sales, conversion, customer experience. And it was always around one thing: bra fitting. Every time we did in real life, personal event, we got the best sales, the best conversion, the most customer satisfaction. We gave women comfort. We really had that human connection I talked about. And I realized, what the hell have you been doing? You've moved away from what you really intrinsically believe, that you're a humanistic brand, to be, trying to sell third party where you have no control over your presence. And so we thought, well, if women are in the wrong bra size, all women are in the wrong bra size, by the way, 80%, and that's true.
Yeah.
And they're not being bra fitted. They're not. We know they're not. They're not prioritizing it. Women are givers. They give to others, but not themselves. Their knowledge about breast health is minimal. I thought, right, well, the biggest retailers have let them down. We're going to fix this by taking bra fits to where women are. And then we've pivoted our business into a service model, selling sustainable underwear. So we now sell a service, and we're going into corporate businesses where there's thousands of women as a wellness brand to fix a problem, which is the damage caused by badly fitting bras, which, by the way, no one's talking about, and there are serious health issues. So it's a perfect time for us, because corporate businesses want to keep women in work. Gender equity is at the top of the agenda.
Yeah.
Diversity and inclusion, ESG gold, European social goals. And it's the right time and the right place. And it's just a different type of energy. We're getting contracts.
So this is really interesting on a number of levels. And the first one for me is your entire persona just changed. So for those who are watching, not listening, they will have seen just the energy in you change. That you went from something that was clearly important to you as something you understood. You'd worked in apparel, you'd worked in underwear, you were, by anyone's judgment, a specialist already in that. And that really difficult meeting, and we talked about the challenges of the things that make us who we are and the failures of things that make us who you are is a very common theme in all of the conversations that I have. But you clearly then, out of frustration, and I can just see you and how annoyed you were, rather than upset about what happened with the consignment versus the wholesaling, but it drove you, to do something which I think a lot of people don't, which is really reflective and going, what do I need to know about what's all of the data we have already? Yeah. How can I use that to work out what I do next? Because you didn't know what was next at that point. You just knew what you were doing wasn't working. Yeah. But when you had the epiphany moment, you can literally just see in you, you're like, well, this is the thing that the world needs.
It was holy shit. It was like, oh my God, it's been staring me in the face and I haven't seen it.
So one of the questions I ask is, what is your pivotal moment? But I think we've probably answered the pivotal moment was actually that meeting.
Yeah.
Followed up by you actually having the presence of mind to effectively step back from the business and take a reflective view. So I've got so many follow-up questions, but I'm going to start with, how did you manage that with your big investor? Like, how did you manage that? Because that's quite a conversation to have, because that's not a small pivot.
Yeah. So I have regular meetings with my biggest investor. He's been a mentor for me. And I started to talk to him about bra fitting and how the bra fitting was where we were getting traction. And it took a while for it to sink in. And even to the point he said, look, I know you're pushing the bra fitting, but I really don't think it's going to be your solution. He was very much still in the old school framework.
Yeah.
And I think probably frustrated that we hadn't been able to make it work, as was I. And I then went into, I need to prove this. So earlier, 2025 has been the whole year of the pivotal change. So we did an event in March in Bath. We took over a townhouse. I mean, all these like lovely women just kind of made this happen for me near where I live in Bath. And I had 80 women at this event. We had made it a beautiful event with a talk, with canapes. Everyone offered their services for free with cocktails and bra fitting. And it was insane, the number of women who wanted a bra fit. And it was just, it was like, oh my God, we couldn't bra fit them all. I mean, I turned into chaos if I'm honest, but it was so much fun. I then thought, but that was a really specialist event, which I then followed up with some one-on-ones, and it was like, it was literally conversion. Everyone had bra fits, was buying, and this is so needed.
Yeah.
We then went to a festival in Pembrokeshire in Wales, and it was a wellness festival. We had a beautiful activation. We took all our pajamas, we took the bras, and we put a sign outside the tent. I thought, I was actually, should we even take our bras? Who's going to take their clothes off in the middle of a field?
Yeah.
And we put a sign outside saying bra fitting inside the tent. I mean, it was open tent. And we literally had women queuing up, and they were like, we bra fitted 200 women in 3 days. And we took 17 grand in 3 days in the middle of a field. And we're like, this is it. And it was really weird. I drove to that festival in the van thinking something's going to change our life.
Yeah.
Ruby Wax was at the festival. I bra fitted Ruby Wax. If there's anyone who's young, you may not know who she is, but she's a famous American comedian, and she was on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here recently. Yeah. And it was all over her Instagram. She was amazing. She loves us in our pajamas. But it was like, so I had that to report. We then said, right, we need to take this into corporate businesses.
Yeah.
And we had someone who knew a general manager at WeWork, and they wanted us to do it in 4 different WeWorks. So we did 3 days a week. We had to step up our operations because we bring all our kit, our rails, our screens, everything. That proved that women wanted it in a workplace where there's men.
Yeah.
That our conversion was still really good, not quite as high as at the festival, but very respectable.
Yeah.
Average order values, just proving the metrics again.
Yeah.
And so those 4 weeks changed everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we have something which is commercial. And then we're like, right, how do we roll this into something which is like service led? And he then suddenly just went on board, and he's just I had a call with him, and I said, listen, I need your help. And he got it. And he's like, right, this is a massive pivot. We need to market ourselves as a service business now, and that's it. And it's just gone from like the second half of last year, building contacts now. And now that all the contacts are starting to say, yeah, we want to book, and they're paying.
Which is the important bit, right? Because this is also about
commercial,
doing the right thing and commercializing it. And I think commercializing a great idea is really hard.
Yeah. As you can see, it's taken me 4 years to get to where I need to get to. Where we are now, though, which is very exciting for me, and my body language probably shifted, is we're in control of this. We're in a white space. No retailer is getting it. They don't care about women's health. They don't care about women's comfort. They care about transactions and profit. And that's the old system. So I've got first mover advantage. I'm going to be the number 1 bra fit service in the UK in 18 months. I am. And we've already got so much good engagement, and everyone I speak to just goes, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
So we're building movement. This is culture change. This is massive industry culture change, and we're going to make it happen.
And I think as well, there's a big piece for me within just listening to you talk and it's something that we talk about when I do strategy work. One of the questions I always ask is, are you turning up where your customer is one question. And you're now literally turning up where they are, as opposed to retailers who they have to come to them, whether it's online or face to face. And how do you turn up where they're least expecting it? Is the second question. Is like, where would you turn up where they are, but they least expect it? And for me, a festival and you were at Ideas Fest as well.
Yes.
So turning up where someone doesn't expect it,
Yeah.
but that it also somehow seems to work is gold dust, right?
Yeah, it is. And those insights from the festival in Wales and then Ideas Fest, you know, and at Ideas Fest, we had a tropical storm moment. Do you remember? Everything blew over. But do you know what happened? I was doing a talk at the time. Everyone came into our tent and huddled, and pajamas were blowing off, like rails were blowing in there. And what happened? Everyone pulled together. Everyone came together and helped. And it was such a wonderful
just the
human
people
moment.
at the festival.
Yeah, because they saw and they were all huddling under.
Yeah.
Everyone picked things up, put things back together again, you know, connected over bras and knickers and sleepwear. and you're right. It's a conversation. No one expects to see it. And we go to where women are because we have to remove the friction because women aren't prioritizing their own kindness. But from a commercial point of view, I was really shy about commercializing this. I really thought it should just be on our product sets. Now, literally my shift, this is another pivotal moment for me. I'm not ashamed and embarrassed because our service is of such value. It ultimately saves money for companies. And
you're not just one other brand. No. You are. And I love that you've got that mission to be the biggest bar fitting service in the UK. 18 months, did you say?
Bloody right, yeah.
So my next question then is, how do you get from where you are to there? What are the other shifts you can see coming that you're going to have to embrace to get you to that big kind of anchor that you're aiming for which I have absolutely no doubt you're going to get to because I can see the pattern. What's next? What are the things you think you need to do next?
So this is like peeling an onion, isn't it? And there's never a destination. So I'm really trying to make sure that I'm enjoying every single moment of every single day and not wishing it away. I know I'm going to look back and think I missed this time. It was really hard, but I loved it still. So, but my next steps right now is, having done 1 million investor decks, I'm doing another one because I have to now reflect the shift. And rebuilding our revenue plans based on our channels. So, which I'm now really trying to hurry that through because I'm out of cash. I'm one of the things is leads into new businesses. So I'm putting money still in there because that's fueling my revenue and actually my proof points for any investor that we've got annual recurring revenues. So we've developed a membership program. So, you know, I know they're going to need to see that this is a viable business plan and it's more than a good idea. So those for me in the next quarter are really important. I can see this taking off really quickly. So building, I've tested the recruitment. I've got a great woman who can help me. We're building an academy to train. Wow. We've got the framework in place. And then it's the national logistics because this isn't a London centric thing. This needs to happen around the country.
International.
Well, let me get national first. But no, it's franchisable after that.
Of course.
So for me, we've got like big banks who've got offices in Edinburgh, Leeds, you know, this is where we've got to go to. And so we're going from craft, manual, drive the van and build it. We've got to have something which is scalable and plug in, plug out with the investment to get there. And then will need more product too. So this is where my head is, but I have all the jigsaw pieces because I've been designing it.
I think that's really interesting. And I'm going to take you back to that younger you who designed vests while still studying and didn't take the leap then.
Yes.
What were kind of some of the key things you learned in your corporate career that have helped you on this entrepreneurial journey? What would kind of say maybe be the top 3 things that you've learned over your lifetime that have made doing what you do now possible?
Well, the first thing is what not to do or how I don't want it to be.
Yeah.
So this is fascinating for me because I'm questioning everything that I was and what's the system that I was part of and how it tried to shape me. And I never realized I never fitted in. And I tried to make myself fit in to be accepted and to be part of the gang and to get promoted. what now I'm doing is building something which I believe is right for now and this new world and this new time where we need to allow people to find their real purpose, their truth, step out of what I call the matrix and actually live a fulfilling and happy life, doing what they really want. So there's a real thing for me about setting a new tone, an empathetic style of leadership and business. What I learned was about critical path management, discipline. So where everything on a fashion is on a timeline, you have your delivery dates, your budgets are set to launch dates. And so you're always working to a drop dead date. And then, at that point, I worked for Marks and Spencer's. The stores would change how they looked. The marketing would shift.
It kind of happens,
there's a discipline. So I would say I had amazing training and discipline, which I think set me in really good. I have thrown it out the window, but actually, and when I say that, we don't have seasons and launch dates and trends and stuff, but actually there is discipline required and
just
rigor and governance. And my main investor is absolutely pedantic on that. Rightly so, by the way, because I think behind any creative art, you need the science. And actually, so recently I brought someone into business who is amazing at the science. I may be not so good at it myself. And now I'm really excited because it's lifted the whole business. I love fashion, but I hated it. And now I'm loving it again because I know, it's actually about feelings, not about it's not about how you look. It is, but it's actually about how you feel. And so,
because you look so much different if you feel good.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how good it should look or it looks on a shelf or a hanger, that it's a bigger piece, especially for women, I think.
Oh my goodness, it so is. And what I'm really struck with is, and I talk about this, our world is really uncomfortable right now. There's, we're distracted from ourselves. We're distracted from each other. Never have we been more busy on email, social media, LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have to I can't keep up with it all. And actually, you can get yourself into a state where you actually think you're failing, but you're not failing. You actually just need to disconnect from some of it. I see then in our bra fits, I see this in the women I fit. I always say, how was your last bra fit? And I see a woman will go, how was it or when was it? And you see her mask drop, and perfect stranger, she then tells you she's never had a bra fit. Her boobs have grown. I hate my body. I've put on weight. Whatever. And you see so much vulnerability. I see more vulnerability than I do women who are in a great space. And I realized the value of what we're doing because actually, yes, I want a woman to feel what comfort is. She doesn't know what a comfortable bra is. We live with discomfort as normal. Red welts, we rip off our bras at the end of the day, shoulder pain. So when I see her in comfort, her posture changes. You sat up then. Her face changes. She's like, it's a wonderful thing. And I mean, I have women going to me, my God, I've just reconnected with my boobs. I feel like I'm wearing air. I didn't realize I could look so good. Is that me? So for me, what we're doing is so much deeper than just a comfortable bra. It's actually about helping women ignite the power of them. The fashion industry does not do that. So coming back to your question, that it's taught me that human connection and care is really important in that interaction.
And I guess as well, for the businesses that are bringing you in, a woman who has that sort of just a little bit of extra inner confidence is going to be more present at work, better at what she does, whether it's at work or just that little bit of extra actually fundamentally is good for business, not just good for the individual woman.
It is. I need to do some work around this, but actually, there are statistics and there are reports to say you can prove the financial connection to badly fitting bras and the absenteeism and the lack of productivity. It's really important.
Well, if you get that information, share it with us, because obviously on the campaign, our absolute mission is to share those facts about the importance of women to business, whether it's they're running businesses or they're the consumer. Actually, we have a massive impact on the economy. So you share it. We'll definitely share it on. So I've loved learning about your journey and the challenges and the things that you've kind of learned from your corporate life that you brought in and some that you haven't, because you actually worked out where your space is. So if you could go back to your younger self, or to an advice that you would give, or just insight rather than advice maybe, that you would give to anybody thinking of starting their entrepreneurial journey, whether it's your younger self at university prior to having that corporate experience, or you when you were in Australia with a mood board, what's the one thing that you think you would have benefited from knowing?
Intuition.
Okay.
I think for me, I was so obsessed with my direction. So my younger self was so obsessed that I wanted to go all the way up this career ladder but I was driven by material things and money. It was ego, it was external validation. So I didn't know myself. I didn't know who I really was. And I didn't give myself the space and the time to actually really think about what I really, really wanted. But it was, I was brought up with parents who encouraged me to stand on my own 2 feet, be independent.
Yeah.
And I wanted a nice house and I wanted this and that. So, and you can see, of course you do. But actually what I learned was that wasn't who I was. And actually and I went into environments that tried to change me. Actually, so giving yourself space, whether it was my time in Australia, which gave me some space.
Yeah.
Listening to your intuition, finding out who you are, really working out what makes you happy. I've had to learn what my happiness is. I've had to relearn who I am.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was really. Got very lost. So yeah, I think make time to really give yourself space, learn about who you are, and then see what comes up and follow it.
Kind of sit with it for a little while.
Follow
Have
it.
the confidence to follow.
I do that all the time now. I make sure I give myself space and I get all the answers. And I'm like really working on not being fearful and just going with the now. Fear comes from overthinking, and I'm just knowing it's all going to get good, and it is getting good, and I can feel that success around me, even though I can't touch it always just yet.
Amazing. Well, I can't think of a better way to end our interview today, because I think that's such a pivotal thing for people to think about. So, Gilly, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, both kind of personally and your journey through your corporate career, but also how you took that leap into business and how you took it from that idea and those mood boards and actually turned it into the brand it is today, and then pivoted it into what it's going to be in the future. So quite a journey. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
I've loved it. So thank you very much. It's been real fun.
That's a wrap for this week's episode of Women Are Good Business podcast, and thank you for listening. Now I need your help. We want to make the podcast huge. We want more people to hear about the stories of female founders. We want to get the best experts in the world so we can grill them with your questions, and we can only do that if people know where to find us. So please help us make the podcast go viral. Like, follow, subscribe, leave us a review, drop us into a WhatsApp group. Whatever is the best way to share, please do share and come with us on the journey as we talk to lots of female founders and we show the world that women really are good business.